Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Heavenly Parent Holy Community Oceania Hundoke, today being Ahn Shi, together with Rev Santosh, and it's Sunday, the 23rd of January or the 21st of December, the 9th year of Chongyinluk. So let's begin by offering a bow to our Heavenly Parents and True Parents, Chariot, Kyombe, Paro. And let's recite our family pledge, both in Korean and English. Thank you.
가족멘세 2. 전국 주인, 우리 가족은 참사랑을 중심하고 하늘 부모님과 참 부모님을 모시어 천주의 대표적 가정이 되며 중심적 가정이 되어 가정에서는 효자, 국가에서는 충신, 세계에서는 성인, 천주에서는 선자의 가정의 도리를 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다.
Family pledge number 2. Our family, the owner of Chongyinluk, pledges to represent and become central to heaven and earth by attending the Heavenly Parent and True Parents. We pledge to perfect the dutiful family way of filial sons and daughters in our family, patriots in our nation, saints in the world, and divine sons and daughters in heaven and on earth by centering on true love. I'd like to ask Daniel Meadows, if you could offer the opening prayer, please.
Please join me in prayer. Dearest Heavenly Parent, beloved true parents of heaven and earth, we are so grateful to gather together, centering upon you this morning with brothers and sisters from throughout our region and our nations. We really pray, Heavenly Parent, as our hearts go out to the nation of Tonga, who's suffering from the volcano eruption and tsunami. And we really pray, Heavenly Parents, for all those nations as well who are affected. We really want to unite together with your heart and your mind and your will for this week as we come into the last couple of days of the first month of this year. I pray, Heavenly Parent, that we'll be able to really work hard for your providence and really unite with our brothers and sisters. And so we pray this morning as we hear from Rev Santosh that you will be able to guide us, inspire us. And we thank you so much for the unity of all our brothers and sisters here. I pray and report in all of our names and in my name, Daniel Meadows and Chisru Meadows of the Meadows Blessed Central Family, Adieu. Adieu.
Let's give a warm welcome to Reverend Santosh as he shares with us this morning. Thank you.
Good morning, brothers and sisters. Daniel mentioned about Tonga in his prayer. I'm here in Fiji. My official mission is Fiji, but starting from Dr. Young's time, Dr. Young asked me, please take care of few countries in Oceania. And then he gave some budget to travel to do the IAPP inaugural in those countries, especially Tonga, Tuvalu, Kiribati, and Nauru. Then I started taking ownership over those countries. Anyway, I traveled to Tonga together with Reverend Stone in 2015. So it was around on that day, the particular day, on the 15th, I believe, it was around 5:30. I was in my place, in my home. I started listening the sound, bang, 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 like, very unusual sound. Almost for 5 to 7 minutes, I heard that sound. And then I called a few of my friends here. What is happening? Is this something unusual in Fiji? Like in 1997 or in 2000 or in 2006? And they said, no, we didn't hear anything about that. But after some time, I read in the news that there was volcano eruption, and then there was tsunami in Tonga. So when I heard that, immediately I turned my phone and I see if Sunya Phili, our brother in Tonga, who is the UPF chairman, if he's online in Messenger. So I saw he just became offline. Before 10 or 15 minutes, he became offline. And I tried to call him. He didn't receive the call. And then I tried to call his phone number, direct phone number. Then the phone was not working. So that night, I did not sleep well. I kept on trying calling Sunya Phili. I kept on calling Sunya Phili, but it didn't work. And then finally we knew that all the internet service and all the phone calls were damaged. All the international phone, everything was down. I prayed for the people of Tonga. Then I felt that I love Tonga, because I have been to Tonga more than I think it's more than 5-6 times I have been to Tonga. I have been to the each and every corner of the main island. I have been to the each and every corner of main island. When I was remembering Tonga, I started remembering all those places. I started remembering Sunya Phili, his family. I started remembering all the brothers and sisters, and then the leaders of that country whom I met, whom I invited them to go to different conference, World Summit, Asia Pacific Level Summit in Nepal or in Cambodia or in Korea and different parts of the world. Yesterday, all of a sudden, I saw a message from Sunya Phili's wife, Santosh, who are still alive. And then I pick up my phone and I call Sunya. And then the phone reached and Sunya received the call. And then I said, Sunya, how are you? A lot of prayer and love from Fiji. When I heard that, I said that the phone was still disturbed, and Sunya told me, Santosh, we are still alive. And then Sunya burst into tears. And then the phone line cut. After that, I couldn't talk to him. So through that very short, maybe even it was not 30-second communication, after 1 week, I felt a lot of love. I felt that maybe Sunya must have felt, wow, Santosh was trying to call me, and then some kind of emotion, some kind of love towards that country through Sunya Phili. And many mixed feeling. So today I'm meeting the people in the Tongan people in Fiji. They have requested the Fijian community to collect the support. So today I'm meeting Andy Koila, the former First Lady, whose brother is the advisor of King's Royal Palace in Tonga at 9. And then I'm meeting with some Tongan community where we will be donating some food stuff. Like we'll be donating some tiny stuff, some that food that can go for long term, and then water and many things. So for just for the information, the Tongan community in Australia, they are also collecting the food, and the container is going on the 25th. The container, the ship is going to Tonga on 25th from Australia, and also from New Zealand. There are Tongan people in New Zealand who are collecting the donations, and the container is leaving on the 25th too from New Zealand. Yeah, this kind of feeling and this kind of love and this kind of sentiment and emotion and this kind of attachment with Tonga really made me very much humble that true parents taught us this thing. The true parents taught us to love our Vision country. True parents taught us to love the people of that country. True parents taught us to be the part of the happiness and sorrow of that country. This kind of determination, that kind of, I was so grateful towards true parents. So anyway, I've been reading Champu Mugyong recently. My experience is teaching true parents life to the people, to the VIP, to the members is amazing. When we teach true parents life, the people become very much excited. They want to listen more and more. And listening to parents' life, people never get tired, because from 1920 January 6 to September 12 in 2012, there is not a single day with laughter, with emotions, with tears into parents' life. So I thought of reading True Parents' Life in two ways. One, True Parents' father's life in his own word. And number two, father's life from someone else. So these two parts I decided to do today. Number one is responsibility and determination. This is from father's word. When I started down this road, I was younger than you are now. I was less than 20 years old. It was a time of innocence. I had a strong desire to have as my own whatever I saw that was good. I felt compelled to research for the interact with anything unusual. Ever since that day when I came to understand heaven's amazing will, I set off in obedience to the heavenly mandate. When God expressed to me his commitment to this big amazing task, I knew that I the one who had to feel the commitment and live with it is my hope. Had not yet become a person who could digest it, I fully understood that the task was too big for me to take on, and that it was my own responsibility to prepare myself for this very heavy job. Beyond that understanding, I could do nothing. When I set out on this road, I was a young man like you. After I received the call from Jesus, the big problem was the question of how to fulfill this important responsibility. I knew that Noah, Abraham, and Moses were much more determined to accomplish their goal than anyone else, in spite of everything. Wise are those who determine to carry on with hope for the future, even when the way is difficult. Those who give up the future for the sake of immediate gratification are fools. Would I have had this kind of thinking when I was young or not? We are only young ones. Which road do you think I choose? I choose the way that a wise man should take. The value of a man and his personality vary according to his standard. So does not decide his or her own position. Can anyone by himself make promise about tomorrow and guarantee the outcome? This is the most important point, whether you are determined to be able to establish hope for your own future rather than being satisfied with the present. Number two, traveling throughout Korea. I understand the word oil and also the state of affair of Korea. I had already explored the whole of the peninsula when I was 14 and 15. We have to be able to think of our own country. I had already explored the southern part of Korea by the time I was 15. I was 15 or 16. I experienced Jeolla and Gyeongsang province and so on. I had also baked from door to door. I think it was in 2004 or 5. We used to receive today's oil, and these writings used to appear in today's oil. And in Nepal, we used to receive just one today's oil, and that would directly go to national leader. So once national leader will finish reading, then only other would get the chance. Then I was the one who was always looking when the national leader will finish reading, and I'll go and grab that book and read these stories from the today's world. Because from the very beginning of my life at True Parents, I was always excited to learn about True Parents' life, everyday life. I wanted to learn everyday life of True Parents. What time he wake up, what he did, everyday life. So when I read this particular paragraph, traveling throughout Korea, it must be around 2004, and decided that I will travel all around Nepal. Then I set up a goal, to do the Pure Love Alliance classes in the different high schools in Nepal. There are 77 districts in Nepal. Before leaving Nepal in 2009 January, I was able to travel 57 districts of Nepal. Not only the district headquarters, I was able to go many places, teaching people the Pure Love Alliance and doing fundraising. Teaching Pure Love Alliance in the, first hour of the day, when the school starts, I'll go to the school, I'll talk to the principal and teach or 1 or 2 classes, and then I'll start fundraising until late evening. And again, same day, that is how I did in Nepal. And I was very much inspired with this topic, especially Father telling the traveling throughout the Korea. I thought of traveling throughout Nepal. And later in 2009, when I went to Korea, and before 2009 also, 2003 to 2008, I used to go to Korea to do fundraising and to lead the team, and later to guide the members in fundraising in Korea. So I was very privileged that I have traveled to each and every corner of Korea. If a Korean man will appear in front of me and I'll start talking about my experience in traveling in Korea, every Korean will be very shocked to listen that I have been to each and every big cities, each and every middle city, and even most of the small cities in Korea. I have been there. So when I read to parents autobiography or the history, the name of the place comes in the while reading. I'm familiar with each and every place, and then I feel that, oh, I'm there. And I imagine when I read to parents autobiography, and when to parents talk about the Osan College, or to parents talk about the Hoksukdong, or to parents call about Chompadong, to parents call about the other different places in Korea, I have been there, and I've experienced something different in each and every places during the fundraising and during different things. So I have read this passage again and again, and I always remind myself of traveling. And the same thing when I came to Fiji also, I got that opportunity that I started traveling, meeting people, talking to the people, telling them about True Parents. Not only in Fiji, I was so much fortunate and blessed with True Parents to travel to most of the country in Pacific, and travel every corner of the Pacific country and meet to the people. The main purpose is talk to the people, know about their custom, know about their food, know about their language, and share them my experience with True Parents, share them about True Parents, and tell them about True Parents. So I had to beg from door to door. Yeah, of course, we can imagine that father didn't have money, and father had to go to door and beg. So I was reading one book, I think it was from Onpil Kim, when True Father and Onpil Kim, they went to Busan. When True Father and Onpil Kim, they went to Busan, Onpil Kim used to work in one restaurant, and father used to go around and carry the things from ship to the people's house, and father used to be always hungry. So, in Korean tradition, when they go to the restaurant, they eat only one bowl of rice. But especially when father used to go to the restaurant that Onpil Kim used to work, and father used to ask Onpil Kim, can you give me 2 bowls of rice, or sometimes 3 bowls of rice, and father would eat that. So I can imagine, still some ajusi in Korean street, they are so hungry, and they go to the Korean restaurant, and we can see that they ask for the next bowl of rice also. I can imagine maybe father did something like that. So I think there is nothing that father didn't experience in his lifetime. In my youth, there was no place in Korea I had not traveled. I stayed up all the night in the truck. The truck driver would not let me into the cab, but I managed to climb up. Laughter. As I could not sit in the driver's seat, I made the effort to get into the truck finally and sit in the place where the goods were. I thought, if I want to go without letting me in, you have to kill me first. Letting one person eat would not hurt the truck. When I got out the following night, I said to the driver, Ajusi, let me pay for dinner. He agreed. And while eating dinner, I poured out my story to him. This on his heart, and he forgot that I had said I would pay for the meal. He paid it for it instead. Another time, a lady had made rice for her husband who was working in the field. She was on her way to him with the meal in the basket she was carrying on her head. I stopped her by roadside, and later she somehow ended up serving the rice to me. While experiencing such things, I thought first the nation should not disappear due to misfortune. And second, that there must be hope that the unfortunate destiny and the sad history of retreating from heaven has continued until now through our ancestor line will come to an end. I saw that there would be a place for Korea to survive if I could somehow raise a flag, rose the sleeping nation and lead it while proudly speaking to the world of our explosive national spirit. You know, now in the modern Korean society, people talk about Hallyu, the Korean wave. Who became the most instrumental person to bring this Hallyu in the world? I think it's to parents. I think it's to Unification Church members. There are a lot of experience and there are a lot of witness that I have done that how we spread the message of Korea to the Nepali people. Before anyone else did, we did the Korean dancing, we did the Korean singing, we did the Korean drama in Nepal, we did the Korean making Korean food in Nepal, and that is how we spread that. And even here in Fiji, when I came here in 2014, I started teaching Korean language, my limited Korean language. I started teaching people to make kimbap. You know, I started showing that how the Korean song, how the Korean movie, how the Korean drama looks like, and the Korean dress. So this is from True Father's word. Now I want to read a small story from a person called Park Kyung-do. April 12, 1938, True Father entered Gyeongsang School of Commerce and Industry, majoring in electrical engineering. I think this is the particular school in Ocean. This is the Ocean High School, and this is the place where True Father went before he went to the hospital in 2012 September. It was August. Yeah, before Father went to the hospital. We can see a picture. Father went to a school where Father studied. I think that was Ocean College, Ocean High School, and this is the particular school. So it is somewhere near Huksukdong. It's somewhere near Huksukdong. I remember in 2013, I had a privilege to speak to the second generation from Oceania. I didn't know about Oceania at that time. But Dr. Dong Ho Kim asked me if I will be able to spend 3 days with the second generation in Oceania. And then I said yes, and then I started talking to the second generation about preparing course in Yuha company in Guri, and I went together with them in Huksukdong. We went to the Huksukdong church. We went to the prayer ground, holy ground in Huksukdong. So this is somewhere around Huksukdong. So Park Kyung-do met Father earlier than almost anyone else in our movement outside of Father's own family, even before Mother was born, and 8 years before Reverend Onpil Kim joined Father in Pyongyang. He shares some of his earliest memories with Father. So when I read this Park Kyung-dong story, so I found out many things. It was in 1938 when I was in the 5th or 6th grade of elementary school that we moved from Sobingo neighborhood to Seoul to Hoksukdong, just south of the Han River in Seoul. It's just after we cross the Han Noringjon, and then we come to the Hoksukdong. It was then that my parents acquired a house to use for the students' lodging. I met True Father that year. He arrived in Seoul from Pyongyang to begin study away from home at Gyeongsang Industrial School as a student. He lodged at my parents' house for almost a year and a half. My mother and older brother, who also worked with the railroad during that time, did most of the work of caring for the students' lodgers. There were around 12 students lodging in the house. After this, Father moved to the lodgings that our church kept as a memorial to that era of Father's life. There was a Pentecostal church in Hoksukdong that my family used to visit. But when the Han River was frozen, we would walk to one in Sobingo. On a warm day, people would have to walk a long distance to cross the Han River by bridge. But when the river had frozen, or they could not just walk across the ice. Then the small Jesus Church worship hall was built in Myeongsu-dae, part of the Hoksuk-do. Father became a Sunday school teacher there, and I was a student in his class. Father was in his late teen, and Pak Kyung-do was 12 or 13 years old. I think this is from the editor. There were 3 classes divided according to the age. The youngest students were in love class, the next level in the hope class, and then the oldest were in the class Father taught, the faith class. Altogether, there were 20 or 30 students. Most students of middle or high school age want to meet people who are older. They do not want to meet younger people. But when he was a student, Father loved the younger children very much. He played very kindly with children and felt a lot for them. He would hug them. Father made a strong connection with many people very well. If someone asked something for him, he would never refuse him. He accepted and embraced people spiritually. As I remember, Father did not speak about his own revelation and spiritual course during Sunday school. But whenever Father met his friends or the students of his age or older people, he would always talk about the providence and about God's kingdom. This was the era of Japanese colonial rule. On Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday evening, we had meeting at the church. Other than Sunday school students, there were about 50 or 60 members. Many of the women congregation listened to Father's word more carefully than to those of the pastor or the witnessing leaders. After the service from 9 p.m., they would stroll around Hoksuk-dong for an hour or so while they were walking. Father would speak about God's providence and they would listen with interest. But before he went to Japan to study, Father lodged at our house, as I mentioned. Such lodgers paid some rent money. If a student skipped meal over the course of a week or 10 days, my father returned some money to the student. True Father lent his own rent money to other students, 1 or 2 won, and he would not ask for it to be returned. Instead, he would go without meals. He would fast and would spend his time praying on a small pine-covered hill across from a public cemetery near the Gyeongsang Industrial School where he studied. I think later this hill became the holy ground in Hoksuk-dong. This hill was raised in course of soul development and no longer exists. Father's main area to study was electrical engineering, but Father never spoke about this. He spoke only about the content of the Bible. It was the time we were under Japanese domination, and the Japanese policemen persecuted Korean Christians. In general, most people, including church ministries, carried just the New Testament with them, not the Old Testament. But Father always carried the Old and New Testament together. Father always spoke about God, and he said Korea will be the second Israel. Only a few people who had contact with Father in those days remains. Many have since passed away. If I had attended the church, I could have been blessed among the 36 couple, but because I didn't attend regularly, I was not able to join that blessing. Korea was liberated in 1945, and Father remained in the South for a time before he went to North. I work in United States Embassy in Seoul and for the US Army. I was also working for the Korean Economic Support Delegation. That is how I learned English. In 1951, Father came from North Korea to Busan. He wanted to meet Kim Baek-moon, leader of the Israel Ministry, of which group Mr. Park was once a follower himself, and who is said to have held an important John the Baptist position, and pursued him. But Mr. Kim was too proud and did not accept Father, so Father continued his activities by himself. In 1952, I went to Pomnet Coal in Busan, where Father had built the little hut out of cardboard. I was a student of English literature. Because of the Korean War, my university has moved its headquarters out to Seoul to Busan, of Seoul to Busan. Busan was never captured by the North Korean advance. One day after the class, I was walking in front of the Busan City Hall. I met an American distributing Christian flyers that were written in Korean. Because of the war, there was normally no one witnessing on the street. I went up to the man. He was happy and grateful to see me because I could speak English. He was a pastor in the US military. His name was Carlton Wadsworth. I brought him to meet Father. And later I took a photo of him with members and permanent corps. I told Father that I told him that Father was the Messiah. He has graduated from a seminary and he could not accept Father's word 100%. However, in mid 1980s, when I was in charge of PWPA International Office in Korea, we held seminars for overseas missionary, inviting them to Korea. I invited Reverend Wadsworth to attend, but sadly he declined to come. Over the course of 3 or 4 months in 1952, Reverend Watts came to see Father 5 to 6 times. Father spoke to him about the principle and among other things, explained to him that the Korea was in the position of the second Israel. I was glad to be able to help Father as his interpreter. So when I saw this picture many places, I was surprised who took this picture this time. And in 1951, how this the white guy is in this picture. So when I read this, and then I came to realize the story behind this picture. So this picture the American in the picture is Carlton, who was in the US force in Korea, and to whom Mr. Park had witnessed. So can you imagine this Park Hyung-dong? I think he's elder than Father. No, he's younger than Father. So even though he did not receive the blessing, there was possibility for him to be the blessed member among the 36 couple, but he did not do. But he was somewhere connected with Father, I think, in his whole life, and Father appointed him to be the leader of PWPA later in Korea. And I met a lot of people like this who knew Father, or who met Father in very early days, but they missed the train, and later again they came back to True Father, and they joined and they took main responsibility. They joined as the previously married couple, and they took many responsibility. Even the person who later became the president of Sonhak Peace Prize. So I think it was in 2004. There was a fishing tournament in Yosu, where two parents celebrated their marriage anniversary. I still remember that this particular person was the speaker. Later I realized this person was the speaker there. He told that Father gave him a big amount of money to translate, to make a dictionary like that is between Korean and Chinese, and that would help the Chinese people to learn about the democracy and many other things. So this is two different things that I read today, one from True Father's word and one from someone else about True Father. I want to conclude saying few other things. One more thing, what I realized after 23 years, this is my 23rd year with True Parents, and my public mission life also is 3 years, because from the very day I was witness, I became full-time, and until now I'm full-time. What I realize is I am able to go beyond the denomination. In my heart, I have such kind of love that True Parents planted inside my heart, because we talk about the 4 great lamps of heart. We talk about to mature our heart, right? So True Father has planted that love. True Parents has planted that kind of that kind of tree, that love tree inside me, that I have that kind of feeling that I don't care about the denomination. I just care about God. I just care about the human being. I just care about the love, the relationship between me and my heavenly parents. I care about the relationship between my spiritual children, the brothers and sisters around the world, and the relationship with true parents or with heavenly parents. So this kind of maturity in love true parents gave me towards the people, and I'm very lucky, to do mission in different country. I heard somewhere that true father used to ask that we have to do mission in 3 different country, and we have to have a spiritual children in 3 different country. I think I'm very much determined to do that. Like maybe in Nepal, I have my spirituality in Nepal, in Fiji, and hopefully the next will be Tonga, Tuvalu, somewhere. We are building the mission. So this kind of heart that I was able to cultivate because of my true parents. Because of my true parents, I can love beyond the denomination. I can love beyond the country, beyond the border. And this is what I recently did. As I share my story about communicating with Tonga, communicating with Sunia Philly and different brothers and sisters. And in between this 1 week, I communicated with many people. The Tongan people. I communicated with Sunia Philly's daughter who is in China. I communicated with one of our contact who spoke in one of our conference in media sector in New Zealand, and someone in Australia, and many in Fiji. So I'm very much humble, and the more I'm humbled is listening to the story of our elders in our Oceania. When I listen the story of Reverend Ito, Reverend Stone, and Reverend Jeffrey, and many other brothers and sisters who did mission, and recently Sister Jennings' story. Sometimes it's very easy someone like me to become very much arrogant, in the mission field. I did that, I did this. But when I listen to the stories from my elders, I become totally humble. I kneel down, I pray, I cry, I say tears, the suffering path, the sacrifice that our elder has gone through. I love reading the story of the people. I think in 2006, when I was, I'm not sure, it was in 2009, I guess, I read a book called Mission Butterfly. I still have that book. I think this book is written by all the missionaries in Europe. So when I listened our elders, and I wanted to say today, isn't it time to write something about Mission Oceania? I think all the elders who did mission in Oceania, who are connected with Oceania in different time and different field, even they came from Brazil, or they came from America, or they came from Canada, from where even they came from Japan. How much it would be nice to read a story in a book, R.I. San's story, and then Reverend Ito's story came from Japan and did mission in Australia, and many other elders' stories to be written in the form of book. I think it's time to collect the testimonies and make a book, to publish a book, and that will be a history. And then the credit goes here. The condition is started by Reverend Yutaka Yamada. If we listen the recording of these Zoom meeting, I think a lot of things that can be recorded for the history for our brothers and sisters, and especially for the second generation. I think each and every testimony would be a historical content for us. Thank you, brothers and sisters. This much for today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Reverend Santosh. Thank you for sharing with us and really coming to understand Father's word and Father's life, and it's really quite amazing the experiences that our Father went through, traveling around Korea and just teaching Father's word, and that I often thought about that photo too, who that white person was, and finding out his story, and how he tried to reconcile Father being the Messiah. I wonder what he's doing today, if he's connected with ACLC, or if he's reconsidering his position in and supporting Father and supporting Mother today. I don't know if he's alive either. When you're speaking, I often think of gratitude and humility when listening to. You mentioned that you're inspired by listening to all the elders. I get inspired by listening to all of the new people that come in who have fresh and vibrant faith and real strength and determination, and I get energized by listening to you and to others, and I have a great time listening to Daniel in Melbourne. Is full of energy, and I get really excited when I see someone that's full of passion. So I can hear the passion and love in your voice, Santosh, and I can really connect to that. And I like the idea of having all of these recordings and stories of our members here in Oceania recording. And I started, I was looking at Mission Butterfly, and I was trying to think of a title for the book. But probably just Mission Oceania would be good enough. I remembered when you mentioned that Father said I should do mission in 3 countries, and I started off in the UK and went to the US and then Solomon Islands and then Australia. I think the mission never stops. Any opportunity you get to share with someone about our true Father, should take the opportunity, and should become like a natural thing. Just to say, have you heard about Reverend Moon? And we need to make Father and Mother's name popular in Oceania and popular in Australia and New Zealand. So when people hear their names, they can think, oh, they're really good people. And that's the goal I'd like to achieve in Australia, is that, because when I go around and talk, still people who are young never heard about us, and people who are old who remember said, oh, you're still here? I thought you finished. So I want to be able to, a mother has told us, educate 1/3 about heavenly parents and true parents. And so that's, really get to the point where people say, wow, Father and Mother Moon really have made a significant impact around the world. And that needs to be in the daily newspaper every day. So thank you, Santosh, for your passion and your love and for your testimony. And I'd like to open it up to others who'd like to share as well. Thank you. Yes, Doug, go ahead.
Reverend Santosh, do you have a nickname?
I don't have nickname, but when I was in Korea, I had many Korean friends. They used to call me Manjok. Manjok means is satisfied in Korean language. Reverend Taka would know. Manjok is a Manjok Hada. Manjok Hada is satisfaction in Korean. And Santosh means satisfaction in English. Santosh is a Sanskrit word. The meaning of Santosh is satisfaction. So my Korean friends used to call me Manjok.
Satisfaction. Okay. I say that there was a Korean leader in America. If he ever saw you, his name was Jun Young Park. He would call you bubbling enthusiasm. You have exuberance. Amazing.
Full speed, non-stop.
Thank you.
Father said he tried to learn to talk really fast so he could get as many words as possible out. And I reckon Reverend Santosh must have been studying that one. Because you just don't give Satan a millisecond to get in there. You just gotta like keep going, mate. Yeah.
So true. Yes, Daniel, go ahead.
I was just always impressed by Reverend Santosh, that he knows people in all the nations of all the island nations, and even the nations that are so small, you know, like Tuvalu and Kiribati and all these ones. He's always thinking about them, always loving them, and he's always got plans for them. And that's always impressed me about Uncle Santosh. And even now with Tonga, it's like most of us are like, well, let's hear from Santosh what the news is, because he's got the connections and he knows. So yeah, that's so impressive. Also, he was incidentally he was a Chingu for my wife at Sun Moon University, right, Santosh? Aju.
We were together in the same class.
Yeah. So, yeah. Thank you for today, Reverend Santosh. Aju.
Thank you, Daniel. Yeah, we have time for a couple more people who'd like to share. Yes, Reverend Ito, go ahead.
Yes, thank you so much, Reverend Santosh. What you said is very, very important. Yeah. What my feeling also, all second generation should go to the pioneer. Otherwise, doesn't understand, must go to pioneer where there's nobody there. Yeah. Because always we are surrounded by many brothers and sisters. But if you go there alone, just alone, only God and true parents. Yeah, you must attend God and true parents. Otherwise, we cannot do. Yeah, because no surrounding people, no support. Yeah, this kind of situation need so that they understand divine principle more vividly, Father's speech more vividly. Yeah, that's why Reverend Santosh's speech is very, and also 3 countries, Yeah, this is why Father said like this. I did in Africa and Russia, now Oceania, always, this is just alone. The first pioneer, Africa first pioneer, Russia and Kamchatka first pioneer, and Marshall Islands first pioneer. This is, when we enter there, there are many different ways of enter, very quietly, the fundamentally very quietly enter there, but those who go with a big gest, immediately immigration find out and they kicked out. Yeah. And Reverend Santosh way is really not quietly, but just a new era, new era has come. But Cold War era is many communist and totalitarian and, very difficult. Yeah. But so quietly enter. Even don't bring the Islamic country, shouldn't bring divine principle book like this, only in your head and go there, pretend to be like Islam. Yeah, so very precious testimony and very appreciate. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Reverend Ito. Thank you. Yes, Mary, go ahead.
Okay.
Reverend Santosh, I was totally inspired about your testimony about how you traveled through Nepal. Not only fundraising through the entire nation, but spending time in the morning teaching in the schools of the Pure Love Alliance. I think that's a great way to fundraise. It's like to educate part of the day and then fundraise the rest of the day. That was great. Thank you. Must have been a beautiful experience also traveling through such a picturesque nation and meeting such wonderful people. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Mary. Thank you. Oh, we have time for one more person who'd like to. Yes, Reverend Kenji.
Oh, yes. All right. Yeah. Thank you very much, Rev Santosh, for delivering your passion and enthusiasm. Anyway, so you are a new generation and non-stop talking to testify about the true parents. That's something that we learn from you. And first time I met you, I think was that when you were fundraising in middle of the city of the Seoul, wasn't it? And I just my first impression was that yeah, very funny Nepalian who speaks the Korean fluently, and anyway, he was really working for God and true parents without any thinking of himself, just genuinely working for God and true parents. Such a genuine passion was really impressing me. And anyway, at the time, I was participating in a 120-day workshop, very special the period. And at the time, I met some international members who were fundraising in the city of the Seoul. And that's the actually things that made me really dedicate me to move forward as, wow, what the true parents making is a truly, the one family under God is really working together to build the substantial Cheongil-guk. Anyway, thank you, Santosh, for the total dedication, 9 years in Fiji. That I also used to serve. Yesterday, the youth pastor, the Richard Kumar's couple visited our peace embassy and had 3 hours chatting, and all sort of the memory came back in Fiji. Actually, he was living in Fiji until 2009, and almost we were staying together in the Suba area without knowing each other, but we were there together. Anyway, lot of the puzzles are now the piece of the puzzles they're assembling to harvest, and I really hope that the Fiji mission to go to the new level with your leadership. And thank you very much indeed for your dedication for God and true parents in Pacific Island nation. That's all. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Reverend Kenji. Thank you. And we have one more person who wants to give a greeting. Vasiti, is it? Yeah. Go ahead.
Hello,
Yes.
can everyone hear me? Okay. Bula Pinaka, good morning, Heavenly Parents and True Parents. Good morning, elders, leaders, brothers and sisters. Yang Binaka. I'd just like to do a short greeting. So my name is Vasiti Lau Kelly. I am from Fiji. I just currently finished my 2 years mission in the Philippines. And yes, I'm so much thankful that I could join this morning's Hondoke. And yes, very inspired towards my national leader, Rev Santosh, from right now currently leading Fiji. Yes, I would just like to take this time to greet everyone, as I believe, I think for most of you, it's your first time meeting me. I actually got witnessed by Asia Leadership Training, ALT, now known as YLT. And I believe one of the members from that batch is in this Hondoke. I believe her name is Sister Rebecca Bell. Good morning, sister. I hope you still remember me. Yeah. Thank you so much for your hard work. Because of your batch, I was able to meet the movement, and I did 2 years mission in the Philippines. And currently, I just arrived back here in Fiji. I am currently in 14 days quarantine. So here's to marching forward for our heavenly parents and true parents. Thank you so much, and good morning, Binaka.
Thank you. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you. And thank you, everyone. It's time now for us to offer our unison prayer. So I'll just share the screen. Thank you. And let's pray together. Adieu, adieu, adieu. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day and see you tomorrow. Okay.
Thank you, Santosh, today.
Thank you
So
so
much.
much.
Thank you. See you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
All
you.
right. Bye-bye, everyone.
Yeah.
Good day.
Wonderful to see
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Okay, have a good day.
Good day.
Good day.
Bye-bye.